Wait, I guess we can move to here. Hello. Just Potato, hello. I'm late for Voob. I was a little busy today. So I did not have a chance to get on earlier for Veep chat. The Real Rose, hello. Welcome. Mansum, hello, welcome. Also, Milkor. Hand it over right now. Fruit Salad Puncher, Colt M5. Welcome. So, today, unless I was busy acquiring transferable machine guns, inexcusable. I was busy trying to contact Portuguese speaking people. So it was very important, I assure you. Inexcusable. Very important, I say. But you may notice there's a bit of a longer magazine in this right now. That's because a longer magazine fits in it. So the Taurus 10-round magazine is the same as the Colt magazine. What are you bartering to trade? Trade dick for a Visa in exchange for a CT9 stock? Wait, he's Brazilian, isn't he? What am I doing trying to contact people directly myself? You said I know you've said that before. I just forget. Cause I'm stupid. But and so we have got longer mag in the Taurus. It's not actually locked in because I have not actually modified it yet. So it does need a little notch cut in the back right there to lock in. So it is literally just press fit. It's press fit magazine. Except it'll just slide out. Don't feel too bad. We're all stupid. Yeah, but some of us are a little extra stupid. A 2, not top. And you can be a stupid top. That's okay. When am I converting the Taurus UMP? As soon as I can. Also, there are currently on Gunbroker more of these things in one place than I have ever seen before. There are 4 of these on Gunbroker right now. Just all of them. Like all of them are on Gunbroker. And buy them all. I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty tempting to buy one of these 2. They're both from the same seller in Arkansas. It is very tempting. If for no other reason than because if I'm going to put a bunch of money into converting this to more the SMT that it's supposed to be, I want to be able to get parts for it. Are they 9mm? They are. They are 9mm. Taurus does make these in 40, but almost all of them in the United States are 9. So they're 9. Oh, wait, stop sneezing on my stuff. Hear the cat sneeze back there. No 45. Got to be in 40 for the true Brazil experience. Now 40 would be the true Brazil experience. You're correct. No 45. No, the Taurus SMT, I guess originally, comes in 9 and 40. It says the SMT 9 and the SMT 40. No SMT 45. Another reason why CT9 is inferior to USC? Well, because it doesn't use boomer ammo? Is that why? Yes, oh, hello. Hi. We have a visitor. We have a guest. Stream guest. I need you to remove your claws from my forearm, though, please. That would be awesome. Thank you. Can the thumbhole stock be taken off? Yes. Yes, it can. So if you can get the near unattainable folding stock for that, it can just go on. It just goes on. Show cat to stream. You're trying to make yours look. The cat is now splayed out. Here you go. Look, come on. Ouch. Let go of me. Remove claws from skin. He doesn't want to be shown. He doesn't want to be shown. Got to get a plug from the favela. And so the Taurus SMT right here. It uses the same connectors for the stock that it's supposed to have and the thumbhole stock. So if you can get this one, you can literally just slap it in. And then it uses an AR style grip. So yours doesn't want to look, apparently. That's because it's a cat. Cats never do what you want them to. A2 grip supremacy. Yeah, it has A2 grip. The import version kind of has A2 grip. Except you can see it comes up, it follows around this line, and goes up into the stalk. Whereas this one still has that line, but it doesn't have a big plastic chunk over it. I just need the Brazilian boot. I need the Brazilian boot to go on it. Your cat is better trained and usually follows commands better than your parents' dog. This cat is a very good cat. He comes when you call, at least. Trained a cat. I didn't train a cat. It happened accidentally. It's because he's friendly. And he just wants to be petted, always. So when you call him, he's like, ooh, time to be petted, and then shows up. Are you sniffing the mic? Stop that. It probably sounds weird. Yeah, so sniffa. Yeah, sniffa. But the Colt mag here. Oh no, let go. So Colt mag and the Taurus mag. So they both have the rib on the back. The same profile. Up on the top, it's a bit different. But I'm going to try to modify a Colt mag to actually work, because they are very similar. So the followers are slightly differently shaped. Hold on. We can zoom in. We can zoom in. Enhance. So the followers, the Taurus has a bit of an angle on the front. This one just kind of squares off at the front. But they are incredibly similar. So I'm going to try to modify one of these Colt mags to go into the Taurus because it fits. And it obviously doesn't lock in because we don't have a locking surface back there on it. It's got the regular one. So I think if I modify it, it'll fit perfectly. Or well enough. Try putting Colt follower in the Taurus mag and see if it works. I would love to. In order to do that, I would need to remove the dimples to slide that out of the bottom. Because those dimples are holding it at 10 rounds. Because more than 10 rounds is scary. And Dremel chain to the rescue. Yeah, so I have 2 of these magazines. I probably want to leave at least one of them not destroyed, should it go wrong. But I do need to remove the dimples on one of them. Looks like Uzi mag. This one is a Colt mag. Which, yes, very similar to Uzi mag. But the Uzi mag, or the Colt mag, has more of a similar rib on the back of it. First one also looks like an Uzi. Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen, you apparently can modify an Uzi mag to go in this. But I don't have any Uzi mags. I do have Colt mags. Slightly less rib. Yes, so there's slightly less rib on the Colt mag, but it's just a locking tab, so I don't see why it wouldn't work. As long as you put the tab in the right spot. Which are cheaper? The cheaper ones are the ones that I have, because then I don't have to pay more money. Ooh, the Walther toggle lock shotgun. I've not heard of that one in a while. I think Forgotten Weapons did a video on that one, like forever ago. Yeah, so today has been spent trying to get parts for this. Yeah, I've been sending many messages in Portuguese to try and get stuff for that. I also have been trying to decide, because apparently everyone's just dumping these things right now. There are 4 of these on Gunbroker. I've never seen 4 of these in the same place. So I've been considering buying another one of these, so that if I'm going to put a bunch of money into the one I have, I at least have spare parts. When I find a source, order 2. You'll buy a stock. We're working on it. We're working on it. Handguard is too long. Yeah, so for the handguard, I've had a few ideas. So one of my ideas is to just keep this handguard, except this handguard is very large, pretty wide. So I'm considering, instead of trying to get the original handguard for this, just removing a little bit more material from the front of this and making an SD version, putting a suppressor down under here. Because you can bring the suppressor to about right here before it starts interfering with the charging handle. And you just have a little bit of suppressor sticking out the front. I don't know. That is a consideration. The handguard we saw the other day. There is also the what is it called? There's also a handguard for it. The DC shooting gear. There's another handguard you can get for this thing. That if I can find a picture of it, that is better. There we go. See, so there is this handguard right here that obviously comes in FDE. It also comes in black. I probably would get black. Ads, not ads. You're back? Oh, that's fast ads. Space gun, a little bit. What about OD green? I have only seen this in FDE in black. Ew, that isn't key mod. It's not. It is not key mod. Mine would probably not be two-tone. I'm not a huge fan of the two-tone on this. But the black handguard is a possibility as well. But another bonus, if I bought another one, right, is I could make two of them. I can make one that's not SBR. What do you mean? What do you mean I didn't say hi to you? I said hi to you. I said hi to you when I was saying hi to everybody at the beginning. Shake my head. Shake my head. Then someone to you. Say hi, Rose. Hi, Rose. I already said that. I said that at the beginning. Potato, you were here for that. You wasn't here? I don't know. Sounds like a skill issue. Get one off Gunbroker. Yeah, so currently on Gunbroker, there's 4 of them. There are currently 4 of these on Gunbroker. And one of them comes with a convertible magazine. Or with an already converted magazine. I don't know if it works, but they've at least stuck it in there. You're kind of tempted. Needs a lot of work. Yeah, if I got another one, it would mostly be as spare parts. If I'm going to sink a bunch of money into this. Too much work for a Taurus, honestly. But stamped UMP. Stamped UMP. If the parts were available, you'd do it. Getting the parts. I'm going to be spending, if I can get the parts, more on the parts than I spent on the gun. So, and it's still going to be cheaper than an HK. And not close. Searching years for a stock sounds like a bad time. Hopefully I don't have to search for years. Hopefully I don't have to search for many more months. Just look up eBay Brazil. eBay doesn't even sell gun parts in the United States. I mean, I guess they sell some. If you want like a FUD part for your gun. Does anyone make an airsoft version? You can swipe a stock. I don't think there's an airsoft SMT9. That would be very surprising. If someone can find one, I am open to the suggestion. Airsoft would be the same price as the original. You probably also have to pay import fees. There's a few different ways to make this into a better gun. Honestly, this gun is super fun to shoot. Like I have shot it a few times just in this configuration with a smaller mag. And honestly, it's really nice. It's way nicer than I ever would have expected it to be. And that's in this configuration. So I wanted to make it better. The problem is that these handguards are a little expensive. I don't remember exactly how much money this is. 1,800 Brazil. What is that in USD? This is like 350-ish USD, I think. Oh, we can look it up. Burl to USD. See, it's $330 US before shipping internationally. Which is quite a bit for a handguard. That's cool. But also not the original. Speaking of unexpectedly good, tried the APX A1 carry. Not as bad as you thought it was going to be. That's their like single stack, right? Isn't that one just a reskinned Beretta Nano? Yeah, so I guess, oh, look, there's not a two-tone one. That's what it looks like. If you can get the right stock and this handguard with threaded barrel. Asterite, hello? Hello? If I can find one of these, preferably for less than $330 US, I might get one. Don't tempt you with my Brazilian devil gun. But I think you need one. I mean, gotcha. It comes with one mag already converted. The rest still has some work to do. I'm gonna be honest. But, you know, this one's in better condition than mine started. Mine had crayon on it. Picked up your AP53 today, but your brace assembly didn't come with a castle nut? Huh? You better not be putting an AR buffer tube. Wait, is that mag? I don't know what that mag. I don't know what the mag is on this one. It doesn't say. It says 132 round magazine. But it doesn't say what kind it is. It looks like it's probably like an older Pro Mag or something. I'm not sure. That's what you did? No. Just temporary? It better be just temporary. I wonder if we can figure out which Pro Mag is in that thing. Probably. Probably I could. Did Pro Mag make Uzi Mags? Polymer Uzi Mag? I don't know, whatever that is, it's clearly a polymer magazine. I don't know. I even do temp? Aren't Form 1s like a week? Form 1s, if you've got a trust, take a bit longer. Maybe he's got a match to go shoot with it. He needs it now. I don't know. You heard that time was very down. I mean, it's very down. I mean, it used to take like 8 to 10 months. I think that I haven't done one in too long. I think it's down to a month now. We could just check. ATF eForm wait times. So Form 4 wait times look like they're a bit shorter. Bit shorter for individual. 16 days for trust, 7 for individual. What about Form 1? $16 days? Yeah, 16 days is not very long. Compared to what it was. I mean, it's still longer than it should be. But the last... I did a Form 4 last. How long did that take? I think it took like 9.5 months. Ish. Approximately. It took forever. However long it took, it was too long. And that was before the sweeping changes. Your Form 4 last year was 10 months. Oof. Oof. I do have some Form 1s that I need to submit. I need to stop being lazy. But being lazy is so much easier. Oh well. I just need to sit down and doom. You two are very lazy. Yeah. That is my big problem with NFA. Well, I have many big problems with NFA. The big problem as to why I don't have more NFA is because I'm lazy. Remove everything from the NFA. Abolish it. Abolish the NFA. Please. Abolish the NFA, GCA, 922R. Get rid of all of it. It's all nonsense. Your big problem with the NFA is that it exists? Yes. Your NFA problem isn't the paperwork, it's the $200 tax. Yeah. If I had anywhere close to as many NFA items as you, gotcha, I also would be very upset with that. But I have nowhere near as many. You want to submit 3 forms at once for efficiency? $600 if you do it at once? You can just buy a whole gun with that. That's enough money to buy a reasonably interesting gun. You can buy like half of Kel-Tec's catalog. Not all at once, but like choose any one. Has anyone seen the Kel-Tec PR57 actually in a shop yet? Is that one that's actually being sold? Or is that not out and around yet? You've not seen one in the wild yet? I have not seen one in the wild. There's some websites that are like taking sketchy looking pre-orders. You want to pre-order your Kel-Tec, you can, I suppose. Green, yeah, they're coming in black, FDE, and OD green. I probably am just gonna get the black one, honestly. I am not a fan of this OD green part of the slide. Like if it was just pure, like standard two-tone, like if this was black as well, probably wouldn't get the green. But I don't like the green up there. We think $200 is bad. It was the equivalent of almost 5,000 in 1934. It shouldn't be $5. It shouldn't even be $5. It shouldn't exist at all. Do this to my CT9? Oh no. Oh no, I'm scared. Being scared was correct. Why? Why? That's awful. Why is the barrel still long? And why does it have an AR stock on it? They even got the short handguard. They got the short quad rail handguard. Oh, they have the hoe grip on there. You think they just chopped it? So, to chop this, so if you were going to just chop this down, this rail is monolithic all the way out to up here. You would be literally chopping your upper receiver. which I guess is not impossible that they could have done. But I guess they could have chopped their receiver. If the angle was just a little higher, you'd be able to tell if they chopped the receiver. Because there's a little vent hole right there. Wait, what is that? What is that? Why is there a hole there? I don't have a hole there. They added a hole right behind that little nub. That hole is not how that handguard is. Hang on. Hang on. Where? I need a better picture of one of these. I was trying to see the front of the handguard on an actual SMT. See if there was a hole there. But I can't find a good enough picture from the right angle. Might not be in the US even. That is a solid possibility. Rick Sager. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Wait. What? This is not the... This is like the 5th time you followed me. Huh? What, what are you doing? Is the magwell a separate piece? A separate piece from what? Here, so here we zoom again, zoom more. So the magwell on this thing. So you obviously there's a line right here. So this piece is stamped. This piece up here is stamped. This bottom piece down here, it starts up here under the handguard. It comes back, goes under here. So this magwell all the way back and then up to here is a piece. So it's not just the magwell that's a piece. It's one giant polymer piece that is inside of this. So it's kind of a separate piece. But it's not a separate piece like you could just take off the magwell and put one without the magwell grip on there. swap it to take different magazines? If there was market support for that, possibly. But if you're just gonna put different magazines in it, do SMT9 have a curve? They do. The SMT 9mm mags do have curve. They are curved magazines originally from Taurus. Not with that attitude. Yeah, I'll just make the market support. And for like the 200 of these that exist in the United States, I'm sure what they are really pining for is the ability to put Glock mags in it. Well, they might be. What is that, safety? This safety? Just thumb safety. Just like you have on like everything else. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that safety. Of all the things to complain about on this gun, which admittedly there are many, the safety's not any of them. You meant about removing the magwell? Is that safety? Removing the magwell? Huh? I don't understand. You're gonna have to rephrase that one. Not with that attitude. It was about removing the magwell. But you said, what the heck is that safety? I see it. I see the chat message right there in chat. What the heck is that safety? Can't gaslight me like this. That was a second statement, hence the also. Yes, and I addressed it. What's wrong with the safety? Apparently, the Taurus SMT has an IMFDB page because it shows up in media. It is apparently in the hit classic 2012 game Warface. Along with a bunch of other super niche guns. What is this game? I'm now required to play that game on Steam. On stream. Crytek. It's made by Crytek. Huh? It's not on Steam. What is this game? Free to play PC first person shooter. Warface Clutch is on Steam. Is that what they're talking about? Who's this one made? Reviews, mostly negative. This one says the developer is My Games, not Crytek. Wait till they add the CT9 to Girls Frontline 2 next. Hopefully. We can only hope. There's a Warface Breakout. Why? What is this game on IMFDB that I can't find anything about? Just Warface? There's a trailer from E3 2012. Is that, huh? the audio is not lined up. It is Warface Clutch, formerly known as Warface. What on earth is this gameplay trailer? What is going on? Does this pistol have a knife on it? Yes. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Oh, it's an absolute laser. Zero recoil. Games journalist gameplay. Why would you ever hip fire it? I can understand why this game never took off. I understand. Excuse me, while I'm on the battlefield, I'm going to change from a scope to a red dot. Just hot swap those on the battlefield. Stabbed the guy with his pistol knife. What was that? What is this red laser? This game feels like someone's like high school project. That is what that game feels like. Crisis gun modification? Well, yeah, that makes sense. It was made by Crytek, so checks out. Oh, Warface shut down April 30th, 2024. We can't play it anymore, chat. It's all over. Next stream planned. I mean, the game is still on Steam. Mostly negative reviews. Let's read the reviews. No USA servers. No controller support. Okay, go back to Xbox. Dead game. Game servers are split into categories, rookies and professionals. That's interesting. Developers are shameless, making the game pay to win. How do you make a first-person shooter pay to win? How did they manage that one? It should be so easy to just not do that. I've played this game for 3,000 plus hours. Loved it. Stupid animations, terrible voice acting, ridiculous physics. The pay to win always annoying, but something has changed. This guy wrote a whole, oh my goodness, this guy wrote an essay. Huh. Yeah, this 3,000 plus hours guy has 3,335 hours in Warface. That is that is crazy. Do I even have half of those hours on anything? I don't think so. I do not. The most hours I have on anything on Steam is 1,700. So I guess that is technically more than half. But just barely. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, apparently it has the Taurus in it. It's probably behind a paywall though. So that's a bit of a deal breaker. Apparently, according to Steam, currently in game in Warface are 221 people. There are 221 people in game. There are 331 people in COD 4. Not the remastered, the original one. There's only a 100 player difference between Clutch and COD 4. Oh, maybe I might download it and boot it up. See if it's worth playing on stream. See if there's any reason to play it at all. All right. There is a video. There's a video we have to watch. HK. HK apparently is doing things. And I need to know what. This is, oh my goodness, this is a 37-minute video. That's okay. You guys are all okay with a 37-minute video, right?
Hey everyone, James Reeves, TFB TV. It is my honor, my privilege today to interview Mr. Michael Holley, the CEO of HK USA. Mike, is it okay to call you Mike?
Good morning. Thank you.
Okay,
yes, sir.
Okay.
Sounds a little echoey.
On the program. Seriously, this is an honor to me. A lot of the guys out there watching, they're HK fanboys. They know
oh, no.
I'm an HK
They've got the Taurus
fanboy,
HK
so
in there.
Some pressing questions for you.
Outstanding.
I'm asking on behalf of all HK fanboys out there. But before we get into that, I want to know, how did you get into this position? Walk me through how Mr. Michael Holley ended up as the CEO of HK USA.
Sure. So I started my career, like most of us,
Probably have
doing odd
to
jobs
know someone.
and working in all types of industries. One of those happened to be, I found myself at 14 years old working for PepsiCo. And
Doing what?
14 years old, working at Pepsi? Man. Can't do that anymore. Bring back child labor.
Stocking shelves and filling shelves and building displays, and obviously as a part-time position. And anyways, as I got through school and continued into your years of university, I eventually got into the management program there and had a very lengthy career at PepsiCo. Very successful career, great company, great products, and anyways,
So this guy went
a very close
from
friend of mine
Pepsi
as
to
well
HK,
as,
I guess?
coach at the Naval Academy for shotgun sports. And I wanted to get into this industry. I thought I could utilize my sales skills, my marketing skills, and things within an industry that I had a passion for. At that time, more on the hunting side of the business. So I decided, went home, sat down with my wife and said, I'm retiring and I want to get into this space. And she said, you're crazy. And 22 years later, here we are. My first opportunity, I started with Benelli USA. Phenomenal company, phenomenal products. Was very
Benelli makes sense if he's more into the hunting side.
Was able to migrate into another executive position at Savage Arms. Great American.
That feels like a downgrade. Not gonna throw too much shade at Savage, but going from Benelli to Savage does not seem like an upward move.
And Canadian manufacturing company, phenomenal products again. And an opportunity came up with transition of German focus for HK. I got a phone call from, at the time, one of the large shareholders of the organization. We met and we put an action plan together to be able to ultimately launch what was the VP9 of today, the original VP9. So I started 11 years ago and 21 days ago, and came to my first SHOT Show with an HK shirt on there, and then introduced the HK VP9 shortly thereafter.
That's what I always worry about when I interview CEOs, is a lot of times they're really good CEOs, they're really good businessmen, but maybe they weren't gun guys. So I suppose the gun guy shibboleth question, if you will, what was the first gun you ever owned?
This guy being a gun guy gives me a little bit of faith, a little bit of hope. Him saying he is a bit more into the hunting side of it takes away a little bit of that hope that I had gained, but that's okay. That's okay. It could be worse. He might be a little bit of a boomer, but at least he actually likes guns.
Sure. So first gun I ever owned was a Montgomery Ward's J.C. Higgins.
Yeah, all right.
22. My
You got
second
a mail
was
order 22.
Charles Daly over and under trap gun made by Maruku in Japan. So that was an older gun. And that was my second gun. I got them within the same year.
You pass. That's old school.
Yeah.
You pulled it out of the print catalog and paid
Pass.
$7 for it.
Pass. FUD guns. Although, of the era, that's kind of all you had. If we're honest. Not a lot of other options.
Got it.
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
just cleaned that 22 before I came here. It resides on the back of one of my four-wheelers out in the weather. It's got a great patina.
Still got
it. It's got a great patina.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
That's awesome. HK USA has
There's nothing
history. I'm
inherently
talking
wrong with
really,
FUD guns.
Not even the past 12 months.
It's just not my thing.
You guys have made big moves. Introduction to the CC9, MR556A4, right? Then the VP9A1, which just came out a few weeks ago. It seems like there's some real movement coming from HK USA. Softball question, what's coming up? What are you excited about that you can talk about today?
Sure. So
Tell
let
us
me
something
talk
cool.
a little bit about
Give us
HK
hope.
USA. HK USA is not something that was just born in 2024. It's something we very much have been focused on and working on for several years, to your point, right? So the CC9 was part of that introduction of the HK USA brand.
Very disappointing
It took
introduction.
us several years, 5+ years to design and develop that product.
Chat, they spent 5 years making an HK that looks like a Taurus and doesn't even have a paddle release. I like the potential that HK has to be in the United States. Not a good opener for him, though.
With just like any other manufacturing challenges, we had our share. And there's challenges a lot of times end up being change of market, change of resources, change of business direction. They're not always specifically you start a product and finish the product in the life cycle.
HK do something, poke, Swiss stick.
Manufacturing process. So we had
Pretty
some
much.
of those along the way where we said, hey, we're not going to work on that product for the next 6 or 7 months. We're going to focus on this project or this project. So a lot of that dictates
Adapted for the American market. Anytime a company adapts something for the American market, I become exponentially less likely to buy it. If I have an interest in a gun before it's on the American market, like it's already other places, I want that one. Not some nonsense that you try to tell me is the same thing. No. No, I'm not going to buy something that is Americanized. I say with this on the table. I'm much less likely to buy something Americanized unless it's super unique. Softball question. Are there any other types of questions in this interview? I don't know. This is the first question. We'll see.
How and when we launched HK USA, but years go back approximately 6 years ago now. The group, which is obviously held in Germany, have as you know, a military lineage, a law enforcement lineage. Arguably,
And Germany does have a military
the
lineage
best
for sure.
Weapon system and small arms in the world in the 416 platform. Certainly one of the top, and maybe I'm biased, but at the end of the day, they identified very much so after us educating them about the Second Amendment, educating them about the civil market, educating them about how law enforcement and the civil market and the military markets all work collectively and cohesively in the U.S., that the U.S. military market are now taking a lot of their cues from the civilian market. And this was all brand new information to them. They didn't quite grasp it, but as we continued to deliver solid results and build.
I can see how American gun culture could be a bit slow on the pickup and a bit confusing for other countries. I can understand that. I also don't have to agree with how long it took them or is still taking them to do things, but I can understand it. How about just import stuff and don't change it? That would be preferable. But there are also some pretty stupid import laws that you do have to deal with. HK's been in the US for a while already. If they wanted to bring G36, UMP, etc., they could have long ago. Their facility used to be down the road from SIG. When you worked there, you worked for SIG? Did I know this already? That was almost a decade ago. Yeah, so I think that just comes down to what he said, because HK USA is still run by German HK. And I think German HK is pretty slow on the uptake of how American guns culture works. But I think they're pretty slow on the uptake. I think they're absolutely making a snail look fast on the uptake. But hopefully someday. Hopefully someday. You've said it before. Where do I think your SIG hate comes from? But old SIGs were way cooler than new SIGs. I guess that's probably where the hate comes from, isn't it?
Trust and value within our organization. We set a path that many years ago to slowly but surely work towards satisfying the real civilian market here in the U.S.
Favorite meme of the week?
Our tried and true.
Meme of the week? The WEAK? Meme of the week. The meme of the poor. You're poor and HK hates you. Old SIGs before Ron Cohen? I mean, really what you want is Swiss SIG.
Consumers that have been, quite frankly, waiting with a patience of which I don't even have. So I applaud their patience. And
Sure.
Chat, how patient are we feeling? How patient are we feeling with HK right now? I mean, we haven't like rioted, literally. Just posted angry comments on the internet. So I think it's not too bad. Not too bad. March on Berlin. We're going to gather up every single gun owner from the United States. March on Germany. And demand HK give us the good guns. I think that's a solid plan. I think it'll work. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Also share their pain.
Yeah,
So,
I'll say you're welcome.
Well. Yeah, thank you.
Personally, I'm going to say you're welcome.
Thank you.
Related to that, let's talk a little bit about that civilian relationship facet of your business. Let's play a little word game.
HK civilian relations? Wait. You can't say that in the same sentence. It's not a real thing.
HK, because you suck and
We hate you.
how does that phrase make you feel? I mean,
Wait, he did the meme. He did the meme, chat. He did the meme.
we all understand if you haven't heard that, everyone out there I know has heard that. It's a meme, right? It's a saying that everyone has said that represents the fact that HK isn't giving the civilian consumer market what they want. How does that make you feel, and what are you going to do about it?
Sure. So first and foremost, I am that consumer, right? I felt the same way prior to coming to the company. behind the scenes in the courtship process of interviews and the hiring process of the company, those were things that we were discussing as well with the ownership of the organization, right? I'm sharing that with them because I come from the same place. And they still weren't quite grasping the comments, because understand that they are a military law enforcement company. They don't have a Second Amendment in Germany, right? They don't have a civil market to speak of in Germany. It just simply doesn't exist. So that's a cultural misunderstanding in business. And I don't know about you, but you wouldn't all of a sudden take your business on the road to a place where you don't understand the rules, the regulations, the engagement.
Yeah, so I don't have to agree with it, right? I don't have to agree with how HK is handling it. But at least HK, however slowly, is giving us the super cucked cool stuff. Do you know who's not doing that? Japan. And Japan has even more of a cultural difference than us in Germany. So the only civilian relations you know of from HK was when their girl boss head PR went off berating male gun culture. I remember that. She got fired so fast. Oh, they got her out of that so fast. We all understand the issues HK has. We just don't care. Fair enough. At HK, the hecklers and cucks. Checks out. You've never even heard of Japan making their own guns? Japan has so many guns. Obviously, the Japanese guns that people are going to be lusting over most are going to be like the Type 64, the Type 89. Yeah, Type 100, maybe the Type 20. There's a lot of them. And you better bet that if Japan ever decides to bring them over here, myself and every other American Japanophile is going to buy one. At least one. You know zero of them. You mostly just get anime from Japan. Reasonable. Reasonable. If only we can get the useless NFA and GCA repealed so we can have our fun guns back. Yeah, NFA, GCA, all the random just import restrictions that are based on who knows what. Maybe. Hopefully one day.
Process, etc. So back then it was creating paralysis. So I thought I could overcome that. I thought I could help with that messaging, and full transparency, it took me longer than I expected. Not that I completely misunderstood the challenges. I misunderstood the hurdles and how high they were to be able to get to all the things that we're working toward today for what we would consider security, whether that's military, law enforcement, or civil security.
With the advent of kind of the new HK
Sure.
USA, we'll say in recent history, have you actually sought out or listened to civilian consumer feedback?
Great question. So first and foremost, we do more of that than we ever have before. There's lots of ways that
Chat, they're listening. Chat, they're listening. Now's the best time to complain about the lack of paddle release on the gun everyone wanted a paddle release on. You know German politics a lot. You think that is very, sadly, very likely? Instead of Russia and the US, parties like Die Linke and Grün are already claiming the election will be stolen because of Musk and Vance showing their report for AFD. Uh-huh. It's too many letters in orders. I don't know what they mean. Which gun? The CC9. The CC9, the newest HK compact that sets itself apart from the other compacts in absolutely no way at all. Except if it had a paddle release, then it'd at least have some. It would at least have something new to the market. AFD is German Conservative Party, immigration controls and stuff. But of course, people are upset about that. Just in all of Europe, it's time for some introspection, and not as much blaming of other people. Just in general, it's not specifically a Germany or a Europe problem. That's just a everything, everywhere, everybody problem. No, HK is so special. No, no, it's not. Der Grün is Green Party. Does Grün mean green? It's becoming an everywhere, but Europe is real bad right now. Europe is particularly bad, yes. King Panzer, hello, welcome. Australia? Does anyone pay attention to Australia? Does anyone besides Australians care about Australia? Like, no offense to Australians, but like, is anyone paying attention? Two conservative parties, AFD and CSU. Okay. Okay. Coming from a two-party system, it is odd to think about a more than two-party system. China cares about Australia. I guess Australia is the quote-unquote Western most Western culturally country that is closest. So I suppose it makes sense. We weren't supposed to be a two-party system. That's where the corruption started. There's a very solid argument to be made for that. George Washington did, in fact, warn about avoiding the two-party system.
Manufacturers have that ability to do that, right? So first and foremost, we're have the ability and to get our net promoter scores, right? That's a very simple process from a marketing perspective that we're able to really get the ear of the consumer and really get their direct feedback on how they see our brand.
What is that? What is a net promoter score?
A net promoter score is a score that's provided after the purchase, right? So for example, you know, your brother-in-law says, hey, you've got to go buy this brand new VPA9 tactical.
Their net promoter score on the CC9 It would surprise me if it wasn't abysmal.
And you're like, yeah. Well, my brother-in-law knows more than me, so you get the buddy blessing. You run out, you buy the pistol, you bring it home, and you start doing your research, and you find out that nobody makes a suppressor for it. So you paid at the top end of the price point for the product, for a good quality German manufactured product that you can justify and say, you know what, I've got my money's worth. There's great value in the process of which they manufacture product. I understand that. I made a buying decision and I purchased the product. You get home and you find out that there's only 3 holster manufacturers that work collectively with that particular product. In addition to that,
I have definitely run into problems like that with guns that I own. Like the Steyr, my Steyr pistol. Love the gun. Finding holsters and accessories for it, near impossible.
realize that there's no aftermarket magazines that fit with that. So as an example, you find out that perhaps you don't have world-class customer service, which I would argue we do today. But as an example, when the Tactical was launched, maybe we had more opportunities than we have today. So you get these demerits as you go from a Net Promoter Score. So it doesn't stop at the buying decision, but that gentleman or that lady that made that purchase.
Did anyone notice the HR public relations speak he did there? With the tactical release, we had more opportunities to provide customer service. Good phrasing on that one. That's something that always pisses you off. Firearms manufacturer, in your opinion, should provide at least one holster option in-house for every gun from factory they produce. You should be a huge fan of Canik then. Canik should be your favorite. Canik does that.
Purchase may or may not be that silent salesman to leave behind to get their neighbor or their brother-in-law or someone else to make that next purchase, right? So that's one way we track that information, because it very much helps us after the sales. Are we delivering world-class customer service in-house, yes or no? Are we working with the aftermarket, yes or no? These are examples of a Net Promoter Score. Mm-hmm. Some other ways that ultimately we're working with, every one of our products starts with roundtables. We've got a very large mixture of the industry that come together based off of their subject matter expertise, whether it's folks that live every day by carrying a concealed carry pistol, whether it's a law enforcement group that ultimately focus on or carrying that holster. If it is a 300-pound, 6'6" police officer or a 5'2"
that's a big dude.
Police officer.
300 pounds, 6'6".
As it relates to body size, weight, needs, all the way through on each one of our round tables. So they've got quite diversity within the group of all of our new products, and they all sit through that process so that we can make sure we're delivering a lot of the feature sets that we have. Where that becomes most important is with our future designs in the U.S. And I separate the two because we have legacy products that we can.
Yeah, I want the gun that's specifically designed for the 6'6", 300-pound dude. Is that just the Mark 23? That's rookie numbers. You were 315 and a half, but were you 6'6"? In terms of like presence, in terms of aura, height adds more aura than just straight weight. And if you have both, then you have even more. You were 300 pounds once? Looks like a Roblox character. At least you didn't look like a squash. Because there's some people who put on weight and still have like decent figure, I guess. and other people start gaining weight, and they start looking like vegetables. Pun intended. 5'9" to 5'10". If 5'9" to 5'10", I mean, it's not short, but it is also not 6'6".
Continue to draw from HKO. Those were all specifically designed for a specific customer in mind. And quite candidly, and you and I were not that customer, right? They were designed for a law enforcement or a military customer.
No. Those are the hold on. Those are the ones I want. I as a customer, I want the ones that were designed for law enforcement and military. I don't want your civilian design ones. And I know I'm not the only one. Chat, raise your hand. Chat, type 1 if you don't want the civilian version, if you want the military and law enforcement version. Nobody wants that. That's crazy.
Customer based off of their specific specifications and whatever solicitation they were setting up for. So,
solicitation. When you start soliciting,
a lot of those products, as you've seen, have developed over time. We've made great strides to improve them and change them to bring them into more of the commercial fold. But their origins are for one specific customer, right?
You want the 90s SL8? Preferably double stack. So I've said this before, I probably will say it again. All HK has to do to get me to buy the SL8 is make it double stack. And then I'll probably put like the long rail on it so it looks cooler, like the older 90s version. But you know what I want more than that? A G36. Just give me a G36S. S for semi-auto. That looks exactly like the military version. I would pay HK prices for that. Mark 23. It's the Mark 23. Super cool pistol. I love the Mark 23. You want to know why I love the Mark 23? Because they brought to market the thing that they were giving specifically for the specific requirements of the military. That's the cool stuff. MP5 and 45. I want the HK SMG too. You think I'm asking for a lot there? Just a double stack magazine? Chat, if you didn't know this, if you go buy an SL8 in Canada, it takes a double stack mag. Even though they have a magazine capacity limit of 5 rounds, it takes a double stack mag. But us over here, the southern neighbors that don't have that magazine restriction, at least in most states, get a single stack 10-round magazine. Tell me how that makes sense.
Designs here, we're working with those round tables, and we go out and are able to draw that information to be able to build the right product for the right platform for the right.
Why can't we just get the Canadian ones? Exactly. Just give us the Canadian ones. They already make it. Oh. New HK USA SL8. featuring a triple stack mag, it would be better than single stack. But I want the one that they give to the military. Just in semi-auto. It's not hard. It's not hard. SL8 with DT Quattro mag. If you send that to the right person, they'd probably do it for you. There's probably a company out there that'd be willing to do that. They also would be willing to charge you to do that.
Purpose for that consumer.
While we're on the subject of what the consumer wants.
Okay, here we go.
Yep. This is now me delivering fan service
Okay.
to you guys. And I want you
James
to give me a
Reeves
number
fan
between
service?
0 and 10
Okay.
in terms of how probable these guns are.
Okay.
H&K MP7 for the civilian market in the U.S. How probable?
Do you need a time frame?
Yeah.
Of course, sir. Of course you do. I would say that it is a 8 out of 10 probability.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'll explain the 2 out of 10. The
8 out of
reason
10?
What could stop the 2 out of 10 would be exportation coming out of Germany.
Wait. What's the HK manufacturing plant here for? Just make it here. Yeah, I would rather have the German manufactured one. But like, just make it here.
And importation coming into the U.S. through the ATF. So there's several processes that we all have to follow. It's imperative to understand that all manufacturers are not treated or created.
HK USA factory is much smaller. I mean, of course. Like the HK Germany factory is also providing like all of the manufacturing for every military and police contract. But there's a factory. Just make it here. Expand the factory. I say that like it's easy. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time. But please.
Equal. So what do I mean by that? If you see someone else doing something that HK is not doing, it doesn't mean I can do what they're doing, right? They treat you on an individual basis, whether it's the German process or if it's actually the U.S. process. So there's a reason why the ATF doesn't go and post all of their public decisions, that they're all done through a one-off process.
Audit the
we
ATF.
have a great relationship with the ATF, by the way. We've sat down with them, and I have openly discussed the process.
It's possible to have a good relationship with the ATF? I guess so. I guess if you like bend the knee and pander to them, you can probably have a good relationship with the ATF. So, okay, checks out.
Of which to bring in what we're calling an SP7 for clarity. And we do have that as one of our working projects. It's in process. We typically do not talk about products that are in that process already, right? We start talking about our products once they're industrialized and ready to go forward. This is an example where you suck and we hate you is something that we're trying to diminish by saying, hey guys, look, there's a long process for this. It's arduous for us. We are working on it. It's not a product that's going to cannibalize our existing units or cannibalize an existing product.
There is a long
portfolio.
process.
So it allows us to say, guys, be patient. We're working on it. I think I've publicly stated that it won't be in 2025. And that's probably as far, James, as I'm willing to maybe go out on the project.
Look, I mean, that answer satisfies me. If it doesn't help you guys out there, I don't know what to tell you, because as far as CEO responses go, that one's pretty damn good. SL8, you guys already make it, sell it.
Right.
No reason you couldn't 922R your way around into a G36, right? What were we talking? G36, 0 out of 10.
Correct. So the
I mean, it's turning the SL8 into a 922R compliant G36 is a little more complicated than he makes it sound, because the receiver is literally shaped different. But you could do something like Springfield does with the Hellion. From the VHS to the Hellion. They literally don't have to make the receiver that way. It's true. It's true. But then it wouldn't be an SL8. It'd just be a G36. Like the SL8 is a different profile than the G36.
the SL8 itself, we've imported those in the sporting configuration several times. We've done that because we could, and we were always trying to do it with a lens of, hey, look, we can't provide the consumer what he or she is looking for, but this gives us an opportunity to bring them a product that they can work on from themselves. Also understand that the importation regulations for manufacturers are very different than they are from everybody else. For example, I'm jumping products here. I can't import an SP5 and put a stock on it. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. You can. Mm-hmm. There's a process for you. I cannot as a manufacturer. So from an importation perspective,
that's true. And it's stupid.
We run into these types of challenges all the way through. The SL8 was one of those products where I will call it investigated, bringing it in as a donor. And using some of the organs as it relates to be able to do just that, and we were denied process. So with that said, several years ago when that transpired, we started the process of working on what is going to, at this point, the project name is C36. And ultimately, in that case, we're looking at pistols.
Why C? Why C36? That would mean if I made a G36C, it'd be the C36C. That sounds dumb. Carbine 36? That's what the G36C is. Civilian? Oh, you're right. It's probably civilian. Why? He already said that the MP7, he said it was going to be an S7, right? Like an SP7? I don't remember. I'm making stuff up. But an S for semi-auto would be better. Like a G36S. G36 semi-auto. SP7. Just even S36 would be better than C36. C and G36C is Commando. The K is the Carabiner. Oh, you're right. It is German. Excuse me. Excuse my stupidity. One of them's the carbine version.
And rifles, they mean very different things. I can import pistols if approved through Germany, as well as through the German government, as well as through the ATF. They are asking us, well, on both sides of the fence, they're asking us to make drastic changes to the infrastructure of the weapon system. When we do that, James, it ends up...
Oh, don't do that. Don't change the weapon a bunch.
Being, for all intents and purposes, a new weapon. That new weapon has to go through the arduous, though very productive process of quality, and we just simply won't do it any other way. So we change a...
Why? Why won't you do it another way? You have very little faith in this one, honestly. And my faith is rapidly declining. Like there's no way that they made the whole HK USA factory, that whole new HK USA factory, and they're going to make the CC9 and that one military contract. Instead of changing the infrastructure of the gun, just make it here. Please. They assembled the new MR556A4. You could do that in a large garage. You don't need that much space for it.
Magazine, we test that entire firearm back through the entire HK gamut. We change sights, we put that process all the way through the gamut. So no cutting corners on the quality side of things. Same answer as the SP7, it will not be in 2025. I've had 4 meetings at this SHOT Show on that very topic, on SP7s and the C36s. Both are at 8 out of 10s for the same exact reasons. We are moving forward with both of them, and I'll continue that until we hit a wall that we ultimately can't overcome.
8 out of 10 on Mike's probability scale. Is the USP ever going to come back? And for me, if it did, honestly, if I bought one, it would just be for sentimental reasons and just to have it, not for any pragmatic purpose. But I think there are a lot of people out there, especially
USP is
with kind of the reinvigoration with 80s and 90s style being back in vogue. Is there any chance the USP could come back?
Yeah,
Did the USP die?
The answer is probably not.
I think the USP is rapidly dying. I mean, there's still some out and around, but it is rapidly on its way out.
This is under 8.
So it's very, very much under 8. And just the reason is our roadmap is chock full of exciting new products, and it just has not made it up into that action area.
Time to buy USP.
At this time.
If you want to buy a USP, you probably have like a year or so. If I was gonna guess. I'm not saying to go out and panic buy one, but I wouldn't wait too long.
Never.
Pretty sorry, guys. I tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah. So again, going back to as a consumer, right? So I have we'll just say a fair collection of P7s myself that I bought well before I started with the company. And, I've always thought that, someone will eventually do a polymer P7 of some kind, right?
Ew.
And,
Ew, no one wants a polymer P7.
It's really about the squeeze cocker and being able to have some interchangeability with the
Jet. It's all about the squeeze cocking. If you can't squeeze cocker, then why even bother?
magazines and such. And I'm shocked that nobody's picked that up and actually done it. But we're not ever going to do it in Germany. They've mothballed the drawings, the tooling, and things of that nature. It's dead.
Well, hopefully, guys, in 10 years, someone will say, "Remember that interview?"
That's right.
TV, and here it is.
And you never say never.
And he said never. Yeah, exactly.
Squeeze cock
When I say
pants
never,
grab.
I'm talking about my longevity with the company. It won't be done while I'm here, unfortunately.
Sure. And speaking of never, I'm just doing my due diligence. It's a silly question. HK, say 21 series belt feds, never going to happen.
Well, put that right in the line with the P7s. So it's just not. It's just not a focus for us. It's just not something that we're focused on.
Make belt feds great.
Before I go down my 3s, 5s, etc., what about roller delayed, center fire rifles?
Sure. So I do think that's something that we have and continue to investigate. If you're speaking specifically about a
MG4 and 5, I don't think so. I don't think so.
The answer is no. It kind of fits into that P7 conversation, right? So the company right now doesn't even have the capability to manufacture some of these things, right?
Sure.
If they had to start over, why would you do that, right? The legacy market alone is just not large enough to be able to probably ever justify the business case. Again, this is a for-profit business, so at the end of the day, it's got to make sense. Dollars and cents have to make sense through our fiduciary responsibility to the ownership of the company.
Sure.
If you can't get IWI to give, 100% chance that HK won't do it.
It's also extremely competitive because you've got guys from other countries running machines that
Yeah.
you left over there
IWI
half
would
a
be way
century
more
ago,
likely than
and
HK.
they're printing them out as fast as they can, selling as many of them, and undercutting what you would likely sell it for by
Absolutely.
an order of magnitude.
Yeah.
So it seems to me like, other than the SP5, which I imagine is something that has always been, of course, the MP5 never went away, truly, right? So that's probably a little easier than, say, HK91 or the HK50 series, HK30 series, so on 93, whatever. So fingers crossed. I kind of see the writing on the wall. Probably on the Mike's probability scale, is that a 0, 1, a 2?
It's pretty low.
And it's pretty low, but you
Pretty
are
low.
investigating possibly roller delayed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Center fire
so many of
rifle
these
cartridge.
projects end up getting, you have a product development process, and ultimately you work your way through that process, and there's stages and doors and gate reviews that you go through, and eventually you put pen to paper and you work those business cases up, and eventually it becomes a project or it doesn't. And there's some phenomenal advantages to roller delay systems. There's a few disadvantages, but there's a lot of
So we're gonna get a new
and
Americanized
there's an opportunity
HK
there.
roller
We just
delay.
have not identified 100% what we're going to do with it.
An HK version of the
Talked
Zenith
about a product
ZF556.
roadmap. Let's get into that.
So a product roadmap is very simple. We've got products that HK Germany continues to manufacture and work on and develop for a military customer or for a law enforcement customer and for the defense business worldwide. So ultimately, we're deeply involved in that process as well, trying to service the soldiers here in the U.S., making sure that they have battle-ready capabilities from pistols, rifles, et cetera. So we spend a fair amount of time focused on that and engaged, obviously, that being the lion's share of our business as a group. It's approximately 2/3 of our business, and that's something that we very much spend a lot of time on. So there's a roadmap for the defense channel of the business. For the civilian business, it starts getting a little convoluted.
It's 2/3.
We are.
So 2/3 of their business is military and law enforcement. That means that 1/3 of their business is civilian. You can't just ignore 1/3 of your business. That's a lot. Obviously, you put more time, more money into the military side of things. But you should split your time and money in the same percentage that you split the business. So the civilian side should get that 33% of their business, of their development time, and all that stuff. And I guarantee it doesn't get close.
Are the largest civilian business in the world. You could argue that the second next largest will be Ukraine in the future.
Right.
What a great opportunity for an example of folks that should have been armed in advance.
Absolutely.
So from that perspective, they have a different need than what you and I have need here for security and here in the U.S. So we have roadmaps that are leading directly out of Germany. We have roadmaps that are going to be organically developed and grown out of the U.S. specifically with our own designs. An example of that, if you think about the international market, and these are not new products, these are new product examples. These are not things I'm committing to, et cetera. Rimfire is a great example. There's one market for rimfire, it's the US, right?
What? I mean, obviously 22. There's a market for 22s. There. But nobody is like HK. The thing I want from HK is more 22s. 22 LR is not US market exclusive. It's not. It's not US market exclusive for sure. Like, unless I can't even think of any other rimfires that are still used. I'm gonna be honest. Like, there's obviously super niche and historical rimfires. 22 long rifle is the only rimfire cartridge that anyone still uses in like any capacity at all. But if you asked 100 random people, 100 random gun people, what they want from HK, like the top 5 things you want from HK, more 22s is going to be on like 5 people's list. it's why you don't even need 33% of the development time. Take the guns you've already developed, remove full auto parts, done. Ukraine. It dropped harder than Little Boy from Enola Gray. I mean, if you look back on it, having more armed civilians in Ukraine probably would have been pretty nice for Ukraine at the beginning of the conflict. But like, your Ukraine civilian market is going to pale in comparison to the US civilian market. I don't care how much freedom they have to buy guns. Will it be a market they should get into? Sure. Yeah, of course. But it's going to be so much smaller of a market. The market wants an MP5 and 17 HM2 rimfire. It does no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. They're not arming civilians during the conflict nor after. I mean, basically, you're right. They're technically not arming civilians. They're basically pulling civilians to be like, you are now part of the armed forces. Okay, now here's the gun. And hopefully after the conflict, everyone gets to keep their guns that they used during the conflict. And hopefully they get to keep their Ukrainian Second Amendment rights. Obviously, Ukraine doesn't have a Second Amendment because it's not America. But hopefully they get to keep their gun rights.
.45 caliber, there's one market for that. It's here in the U.S. Hammer pistols, there's only one market. It's in the U.S. So
because a 45, probably mostly US. A hammer pistol? No. There's other countries that still like hammer fired pistols. Investing in a market they speculate will exist later is wild. So I think investing in a market that you speculate will exist later is a reasonable thing for a business to do. That's how a business grows. As long as their investment pays off, right? However, investing in a market that you speculate may exist later, while you have a market that is desperately pleading for you to spend time on them, is wild. That is wild.
For us to be able to look at our market with a market-only lens on the civilian side, or law enforcement specifically, that gives us an opportunity to build a roadmap here organically, right? So our
Organically.
suppression regulations are extremely unique versus, say, in Europe, right? We have a different need than they have for suppression. The length of calibers that we have, arguably 3 calibers that we offer in our 5.56, 7.62, and 300 blackout. There's manufacturers here on the floor that have 27 to 30 calibers in their AR platforms, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a different requirement here for the consumer in the U.S.
What in the red herring is that? No one's asking for HK to be releasing like 50 Beowulf and 360 Buckhammer and 450 Bushmaster. Like, that's not what people are asking. You can't be like, oh, and we can't give people what they want because we can't give them all these calibers. That's not what people want from HK. Oh, what? It's a red herring.
Also goes back to being part of HK USA. That roadmap gives me the ability and autonomy to be able to build some of these products that are specific for our market. The best example of that would be the CC9, mm-hmm. right? That was purpose built by U.S. R&D team in Columbus, Georgia, for our civilian market.
Yeah,
And it's awful. Don't do that again. Stop it. Don't do that. Give us the same version you gave everywhere else. How old is this? This is today? 13 hours ago. 13 hours ago. So this is an interview that happened at SHOT Show. Video released today. Depending on your time zone, maybe yesterday.
I was there, 4 years ago, whenever I shot the prototype, ran it through the ringer. Absolutely beat the shit out of that gun. And man, it took a while for that to actually come to fruition. I'm glad to see it here. And I've got a question.
Have they said anything good yet? Yes. But not a ton. They sound like they're going bankrupt. Yeah, they are talking. This guy's talking like they're about to file for bankruptcy. Like, he's like, oh, we can't spend money on this. We can't spend money on that. We got to really rein in our finances and figure out what we need to spend money on. Which, yeah, I understand it's a business. Got to make money, right? Of course. But also, no, there's so much more than that. You wouldn't be too shocked considering when they started. And they keep over neutering things. Yeah, so I think a lot of the problem is, honestly, this was a HK CC9, right? Before it came to the American market, it was already in European markets. I don't remember what its model name was there. But it already existed. Like the design was finalized. And they were like, okay, time to bring this to the American market. And they took the gun that was already finalized, already working, and they were like, okay, let's change a bunch of stuff. And so they basically did R&D on this gun like twice and made it worse. You think HK Europe is still prototyping it? Are they? If HK Europe is still prototyping it, then I stand corrected. But either way, the point still... Either way, the point still stands. That they're effectively doubling their R&D. Am I good? Yeah, it was the cat. The cat just knocked something over. We can't invest in X thing no one asked for because we're too busy investing in Y thing everyone wants. But we're going to change everything first. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. All I heard was a noise. Then the model had a stroke. Yeah, it was the cat. Don't worry about it.
Question about it, but before I go there, I want to mop up again. Fan service, roadmap. I was hoping you were going to drop some alphanumerics on me. I don't want to ask you about every single rifle. You know, I saw the G39, I guess, at EWA last year, M-Force Tech. Are there any other centerfire rifles that are on this roadmap that are either new or legacy?
Yeah. So my comfort level with announcing products is the two that I've discussed specifically, which is the MP7 or SP7 and the C36. The answer to your question is, are there specific centerfire opportunities on these roadmaps? I would say that they're on all three roadmaps.
Got it.
But they don't have any alphanumeric nomenclature to them.
Got it.
But yes, the answer is yes. We're working on a list as long as my legs, 6'3". I got long legs.
Sorry about that. These are questions I had to ask.
The most generic answer. Yes, we're a company. We're doing things.
Myself, so I'd be happy walking out those doors after this interview. Now that we've got that all mopped up, let's move on. We talked about the CC9, and this is going to be a blunt question. The CC9, as I mentioned, I shot it years ago. I said, this thing's ready. It's good to go. I compared it very favorably with other micro compacts. We spent...
Like the Taurus GX4. Is that what we're comparing it to? That's what I compare it to.
I don't know, a weekend or something shooting it, ran a course with it. It was flawless. And I said, man, this really is good timing.
Sure.
This is good timing. But I said that roughly 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
Now you're fighting against entrenched platforms. You've got the SIG P365, which I got to see for the first time at SHOT Show 2018, 7 years ago. The Hellcat, the list goes on. You understand? So, and I understand that HK does everything differently than everyone else. I understand that you guys will say, hey, Pepsi challenged this if you want to against a SIG P365 or a Hellcat or whatever.
Yo, Pepsi's challenging the SIG P365? I'll buy the Pepsi gun. Sign me up.
I understand that there are people that are out there that will buy it just because it says HK on the side. But speak to me as Joe Blow, who doesn't know what a SIG is, doesn't know what a Hellcat is. What's the strategy for making this gun competitive against the micro compacts that have a huge head start against it?
That is a very good question. The aftermarket availability for things, very limited. In terms of features, it is outdone. Like the only thing it has for it is got HK stamped on it.
Sure. So I'll back up to when you were in Columbus, Georgia, call it those 3 years ago, and the product that you saw and the reason why. I will tell you that it wasn't ready for the market. And there's probably 10 to 15 names, other manufacturers in this building that would have put their name on it that day and gladly introduced the product. They may have used it as a litmus test with the consumers to allow that consumers to learn all the gremlins that are built into the designs, right? So we as a group, not HK USA, but HK Group, we have one quality standard. And we have one quality standard for pistols, specific size pistols, specific calibers, et cetera. Each category has a specific standard, group standard. It doesn't matter if the product's made in the UK, in France, in Germany, or in the United States, that product must meet that criteria. 3 years ago, when you were and you shot that pistol would not pass that criteria. And
Hold on.
to learn all the gremlins that are built into the designs, right? So we as a group, not HK USA, but HK Group, we have one quality standard. And we have one quality standard for pistols.
They act like that's a unique thing to them. That it's having all of your guns meet the standard of different markets is not an HK unique thing. Literally every company that sells things globally does that. Like SIG, probably not the greatest example. They've had some issues. But like Glock's a great example since we're comparing pistols here. Why is this so special? Why is this better than a Glock? Glock also has to meet the same quality standards in every market.
Specific size pistols, specific calibers, et cetera. Each category has a specific standard, group standard. It doesn't matter if the product's made in the UK, in France.
Are there actually HK factories in the UK and France? Is that a real thing? Hold on. And secondly, you just got done saying that this was made specifically for the American market and nowhere else. The SFP9cc is the one for the everywhere else. You can say that it has to be able to stand up to the quality in the UK and France. But it doesn't matter.
In Germany or in the United States, that product must meet that criteria. 3 years ago, when you were and you shot that pistol would not pass that criteria. And oh, by the way, several of those products that you just mentioned and others that we won't mention would not pass that criteria even still today. Mm-hmm. So the CC9 is arguably one of our most tested platforms ever from a pistol perspective. It has been put through our ringer, which is very different than what the standard consumer does. Understand that the micro.
Okay, so I understand putting it through a lot of testing. To say that the CC9 has been through more testing than some other compacts out there is false. So testing by a single entity? Probably yes. Has there been more testing overall between both individuals and companies than the SIG P365? No, it's not even close. There's so many P365s out there that have so many total cumulative rounds through them. And you can argue about whether or not you should be product testing guns with customers. But the CC9 does not. It just straight up does not have more testing than the other guns on the market. Doesn't HK make the current iteration of L85s? If so, UK would make sense. And France replaced FAMAS with 416. So that also makes sense? Oh, you're right. So they probably have little factories to assemble the guns for the military contracts in those countries. Which still wouldn't have anything to do with the production of the guns in the United States. For the United States specifically. That's like, if I'm a company and I'm going to release a product in Brazil, Brazil mentioned. If I'm a company, I'm going to release a product in Brazil. I'm making it specifically for Brazil, only for Brazil, making it in Brazil. But then I delay its release because I don't have the tooling for it in Canada. Like, what? Huh? That doesn't make any sense.
Market ends up being, the statistics say that the average life cycle of a micro is 50 rounds. That's not what you and I do with them, but that's the market. So most of our competitors don't need to get to that level of testing, expense, time, delay, and resources that it takes to do that.
If I can distill what I've interpreted from your comments down to this, let me know if this is fair. You don't really give a shit about what this manufacturer is doing, that manufacturer. You're not going to put a fire sale on the CC9 in order to stay competitive.
It doesn't need to make sense. Poor, apparently.
Because you guys made the best damn gun in the class.
Not going to do it.
Yes.
So basically, you're not going to try to compete with everyone else because you think you're better, despite releasing a product that people are comparing to a Taurus. Okay, interesting business decision.
So was that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement.
Right now, we've got the best pistol in the class, and that's all there is to it. You can take it or leave it.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that, and that's why I wanted to ask that question. Now, with all the hard stuff out of the way, let's wrap this thing up. Best HK from any film. Best
For me?
Yes.
John Wick.
I thought you were going to say for sure Die Hard.
No.
Everybody, I mean, it's so iconic. Not even close in your mind.
Not for me. Not for me.
Just the P30L.
Gun that you could see made by HK. If you ruled the world, you had unlimited budget, you could bring back whatever, one gun, one legacy gun by HK, what would it be?
I know this won't be the most popular, but it would be the P7 for me.
P7 is not probably the most popular answer, but it's not an answer I have an issue with. They can't keep CC9s on the shelf, so they must be doing something right. They can't get CC9s onto the shelves. And so I have tried to find a CC9 at various local gun shops, just so I can hold it, be like, wow, does this actually feel as bad as it looks? Only one of the shops that I have been to has even had them in stock at any point. They didn't have them when I was there. And they didn't not have them because they didn't want them. They literally can't get them.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's a 40-ounce gun that holds 8 rounds in the magazine, but I just want one. Finally, your favorite classic. What is your most favorite HK gun ever made?
G11.
Favorite HK gun ever made. My favorite HK gun is actually a gun that we're currently working on for the defense market.
Oh,
Are you allowed to say anything about it?
But it just makes.
Oh, no. What are the chances that something they're currently working on is cooler than literally anything they've ever made? You have the entirety of the HK gray room to choose from, but they're working on something cooler now. What are the chances?
Makes me smile.
Will this smile-making gun ever make its way to the civilian market?
Probably not. Probably not. This is truly for the warfighter.
Here's your stereotypical softball conclusory question. Where do you see HK USA 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so I think from a group perspective, specifically from a
Worst possible answer reinforces the we're HK and we hate you. So let me tell you about this gun you can't have. Yeah. I mean, if you had chose a gun, it's like a historical gun, like some like weird niche gun that like they don't make anymore, and there's probably not a big enough market to justify bringing it back, like, okay, sure, whatever. But choosing, here's my favorite thing, is something that you can never have. Instead of all of this cool HK developmental history. I can understand being excited about a product your company is making. If you're working for a company, you should be excited about the products they're making. But you should have a better answer than my favorite thing is something that you can never have. You don't care what it is? It's not as cool as saying it's not as cool as the G11 is a sin. The G11, super cool. Admittedly, probably a bit ugly. But like from a design perspective, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
A military defense perspective, because of Ukraine, I think the group as a whole will continue to have solid results. And those solid results will continue to drive R&D, innovation, and new opportunities for the next generation of HK warfighter and or consumer in the U.S. market. So I see that to be very impactful. It's not.
I think that's where the mental disconnect is. He's separating out civilian consumers and warfighters. The civilian consumers want the same thing. Like, don't treat it as two different markets. Give the civilians the same thing you give to the quote war fighters, just without full auto. That's what the civilian market wants. The civilian market doesn't want the guns that are marketed for this is specifically the civilian thing. That's not what's happening. Like, nobody looks at the UMP and is like, yeah, that's for a war fighter. What I want is the USC. Literally no one does that. That's not a real thing. Just the same, no one looks at the G36 and is like, yep, I want an SL8. Because it's made for civilians. Speak for yourself. You don't want the full auto removed. I mean, of course we don't want the full auto removed. That's just purely because of regulations. If NFA GCA was all abolished, then yes, I would say give the civilian market literally the exact same thing. But you do still have to sell guns that are legal.
Not just HK, by the way, that's reaping those benefits. There's a lot of companies in this building that are reaping that same benefit. For what are...
Your guess is the soldier versus civilian distinction is because of German export law? There could be something like that in German export law. But that's not what this guy said. This guy didn't say anything about that. This guy just said that they are making them for different markets. That has nothing to do with import or export laws. That means that he thinks that people are asking for different things. And people aren't. The only thing that civilians want and militaries don't is subcompacts. It's the only thing.
Are some, just horrific circumstances and reasons why. As it relates to HK USA, we've been developing, growing the business here to be able to fund and pay for our future like a good company should. And we've achieved several of those objectives. And at this point in time, I see us continuing a migration in micro pistols here. Specifically, I see us expanding our rifle platforms to several levels. I see us looking at the possibility of some form of other areas that are potentially outside of our current channels of business. But most importantly is building our core competencies from manufacturing capability in Columbus, Georgia. That, I think, is our biggest get for the consumer here. As we build that foundation and as we build up that capability, it's, the adjusted NICS checks last year were 15.2 million. That's an awful lot of firearms.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Truck go by. $15.2 million. And they're not going to give this market of 15.2 million what they're asking for. We'll wait for the truck. We'll wait for the truck. Loud truck. That was a super loud truck. Something's wrong with that truck. We're going all in on supplying a beggar nation that has paid for none of its own defense and whose main benefactor is pulling out while ignoring a thriving, fervent market that desperately wants to throw money at us. We think this is a winning business strategy. I mean, it's probably a little harsh, but just a little.
The opportunity and the business case will always present itself in a way that there's an opportunity for us to do more and deliver some of those products. It's no question to anyone that's listening, or to you and I specifically, that knows that we had an R&D hole for approximately 10 years in our organization.
You still have an R&D hole.
And get to and surpass. And all your
It's a
other
money hole.
competitors that are here in this building aren't sitting on their hands either. So if you want to get in the race, you got to stand up and you got to move your feet. And that's what we're doing. We're not doing it at the fastest pace. We're not doing it at the most aggressive pace, but we're doing it at a pace of which we can sustain ourselves, which is most important for our future and the future of our consumer.
You mentioned expanding on the CC9. That's one thing that I regret not asking you earlier. This is you've got the fire control group that's serialized. It's a modular platform. What are your plans for offering, say, more frames, more slides, whatever the case may be? Modular platforms are cool, but who cares if there's nothing to move it to?
Absolutely. So specifically with the CC9, we're looking at and have been working with the after sales market side of things to be able to work with folks that can do other grip panels and different magazines and such as well. So some of those should be in holsters and such. As it relates to
having more aftermarket availability, don't have any problem with that.
HKUSA
Makes
roadmap,
sense.
It goes without saying that there's micro compact expansions on those roadmaps, right? So
sure.
We don't need to go into the specifics, but when you're talking about a micro pistol, the window is pretty small.
Right, sure. So, no, I understand. But Mike, I just wanted to say thank you. And I know I said it over and over and over, but this seriously is an honor for me. I'm a kid who they called the principal on me in middle school because I was reading the Shotgun News during class. True story. So as somebody who's been a gun guy his whole life, this is personally a big deal to me. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being honest.
Does anything on the
with me.
roadmap look like the SFP9
To our
CC?
viewers, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope I hit all the questions.
I mean, maybe there's a different grip frame that you can use a paddle release on. Maybe, hopefully. I doubt it, but hopefully.
Questions you wanted me to ask. If I missed anything, my apologies. Our time's limited. We're actually at SHOT Show 2025. So make sure you check out TFB TV if you want to see all the videos from SHOT Show. Thank you again, Mike. Thank you to HK. Thank you, viewers. Take care.
Well, chat. I went into that with some hope that HK USA was going to be doing things. And I must say that my hope has been entirely and thoroughly dashed against the rocks. It's over. It's over. We will release nothing, and you'll like it. Pretty much. Pretty much. So there's a probably on a new MP7, SP7, and a probably on a G36. Except they're basically redesigning them so they'll be entirely new weapons platforms. Why bother? That's not what people want. If you're going to be redesigning it, making a new weapons platform, a new infrastructure for a new platform, then just make a new gun. Don't call it the same thing as the last thing. HK's doing things, really stupid things that no one asked for, but still things. Yeah. You're right. You're right. They're doing a lot of nonsense that no one asked for. Man, and I thought that the results of the PSA poll were disappointing and depressing. And then I watched this thing. Man, a 2011 from PSA seems like good news. Ugh. You figured that would poll well anyways? I thought it would poll well. I didn't think it would poll number 1. Like, number 1? Like top 5? Okay. Yeah. But number 1? Not what I expected. You don't even remember what you voted for? What did I voted for? I think I voted for the VOOC 9. I voted for the PSA TP9 at home. Just because it's funny. I don't remember what the other thing was I voted for. But I know it was not the 2011. I would not put it in my top 5, but I expected it to be in the top 5 of all the people voting. But I expected it to be in the top 5 of the poll results. But I expected it was more likely to not be in the top 5 than to be number 1. You know, you didn't vote for the 50. I also did not vote for the 50. Not because I'm opposed to more 50s being on the market, but because that one looked awful. There's a few 50s that I want. Unfortunately, none of them are anywhere close to friendly on the wallet, even for 50. But the PSA one. You think Scott is cool, but not that cool? What, Scott, like Kentucky Ballistic Scott? Yeah, with his track record of budget 50 BMGs, I don't think a budget 50 BMG is the right choice for him. You don't want the one you think might blow up, even if it is affordable. Yeah. And I mean, the gun's gonna weigh like 40 pounds or something. So that weight better be making it extra sturdy. You originally voted for the 50 and realized you weren't likely to buy it, and you noticed the welds and you changed your vote. The welds on the PSA 50, like obviously it's an early prototype, but also like, oh, oh, those welds were bad, and the lower was 3D printed. Yeah, for those who don't know, the PSA 50 BMG prototype that they showed had a 3D printed lower. Which obviously is just a prototype. So it doesn't matter a ton that it has 3D printed parts. But that does mean that it's still an early prototype phase. And so it's probably like 3 years until we see it at a minimum. Like with how much we see PSA working on just literally everything, it's going to be a long time. All right. Well, I am getting a little tired. And also, I don't really have anything else to talk about that comes to mind. So, probably going to be ending stream here pretty soon. So we are going to be rating out what gun should Reimu use the integrally suppressed 9mm Colt. I don't remember what its designation is. So a blend of East and West. I think that one is mostly just West. I also can't find actual designation for it. Oh, it's the 635 DEA model. So it's the 635, the 635 DOE, Department of Energy, which is the little short guy. And then there's also the DEA model, which has a suppressor in there. You thought I bought this? Not this. I wish I had bought this. No one's making this, though. The DOE one. So currently, I've just got the standard 635 clone. I do need to get the DOE, but currently that is the one I have. I also need to figure out an optic to put on it. DOE. Dole. It's a Simpsons gun. I mean, yeah, I guess so, sure. Let's see, who is there? Who is there to raid? Oh, that's who we can raid. That's who we can raid. The logic is there. It's not good logic, but it is logic. It's more logic than a lot of people have. Like HK. It's more logic than HK has. Alright, but we are going to be raiding out here, unfortunately. So, HK hire you, you can help. we are going to be raiding Operator Grizz. Is currently playing Tarkov. They are pretty cool. They also are a fan of guns. I guess as a lot of people who play Tarkov are. But say hi. We have raid messages. So grab yourself a raid message. And I will be back. I'll be back streaming tomorrow. Another stream tomorrow. So, until tomorrow, I will see you next time. Bye. All the waifu references, goodbye. Ferocious, see you later. Matilda, good night. Majestic Potato, goodbye. Asterite, goodbye. Anyone else who may be still lurking around, hanging about, I appreciate you, and I will see you